Have you ever wondered why some people are smart, talented, and hardworking, yet still get left behind? Meanwhile, others, who may not be any more capable, always seem to be liked, trusted, and given opportunities to advance. The difference isn't about IQ or degrees, it's about the ability to build relationships. In fact, studies show that more than 85% of success in both career and life comes from people skills, how you connect, communicate, and influence others. In today's video, we'll dive into timeless lessons from How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, a book that has transformed the lives of millions of Americans for nearly a century. If you want to become not just skilled in your field, but also respected, appreciated, and truly heard, make sure to watch until the end. And don't forget to hit like and follow so you won't miss more life-changing books on personal growth and financial success. Part 1. The Power of Attitude. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. One of the very first and most important principles Dale Carnegie emphasizes is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. It sounds simple, but it's a mistake almost all of us make. Human instinct pushes us to judge, find faults, and assign blame. But as Carnegie points out, criticism never truly changes people. Instead, it makes them defensive, resentful, and distant. Rather than helping them improve, harsh words usually trigger pride and self-justification. The result? You lose cooperation, trust, and sometimes even friendship. Take Abraham Lincoln, for example. In his younger years, he often wrote sharp, sarcastic articles attacking others. One incident almost led to a duel that could have cost him his life. From then on, Lincoln learned to hold back his words, eventually becoming one of the most tactful and empathetic leaders in American history. We see this play out in everyday life too. Imagine an employee making a mistake at work. If the boss snaps, "This is a disaster, you've ruined everything," the employee will likely feel humiliated, discouraged, or even fearful. But if the boss takes a constructive approach, "I know you worked hard on this, but there are some adjustments we need to make. I'm confident you can handle it." The employee not only accepts the feedback, but feels motivated to do better. Carnegie wants us to recognize that a positive attitude and empathy have far more power to influence people than criticism ever will. Human beings crave recognition and respect, not judgment. And when you learn to stop criticizing, you'll find the doors to people's hearts and their cooperation open much more easily. Part 2. The Secret to Building Goodwill. Offer honest praise and recognition. Dale Carnegie once said, "The desire for recognition is as deep as the desire for food or drink." This isn't just polite advice. It's rooted in a fundamental truth of psychology. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right after basic needs like food, water, and safety are met, the next level is love, belonging, and recognition. In other words, once people have enough to eat, they don't just want to survive, they want to be seen, valued, and appreciated. That's why one of the fastest ways to win goodwill is through praise, but it must be genuine and sincere. Carnegie isn't talking about empty flattery. He emphasizes recognizing real effort, genuine achievements, and admirable qualities in others. When your praise is specific and authentic, it doesn't just make people happy, it inspires them to do even better. Think about it. A child who is constantly criticized will eventually lose confidence. But just one encouraging word, "I can see your handwriting is getting better every day," can spark new belief in themselves. Adults are no different. We like to think we're tougher as we grow up, but deep down, every one of us still longs for recognition. Here in the US, many top companies build an employee recognition culture. A simple thank you card, a short email of appreciation, or a public shout-out in front of the team can make employees feel that their work truly matters. Companies like Google and Costco are famous for this, and the results speak for themselves: higher performance, stronger loyalty, and a more positive workplace. Carnegie put it best: be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. This isn't just about politeness. It's about touching one of the deepest human needs, the need to feel valued. A sincere compliment has the power to change someone's day or even their entire life.
Part 3. The Art of Listening and Using Names. Dale Carnegie once said, "To be interesting, be interested." In other words, to become a great communicator, you must first learn how to listen. It sounds simple, but in reality, most of us don't really listen, we're just waiting for our turn to talk. That's why so many conversations feel shallow and fail to create real connection. Carnegie emphasized that people don't just want to be heard, they want to be understood. When you genuinely pay attention, you're silently sending a powerful message. You matter. Your story has value, and that is one of the greatest gifts you can give another human being. Another powerful skill Carnegie highlighted is the use of names. He wrote, "A person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language." Think about it. When a manager calls an employee by name instead of, "Hey you," or when a receptionist greets a guest by name, it creates an instant sense of warmth and respect. You can see this principle in everyday American life. At Starbucks, writing customers' names on coffee cups isn't just for convenience, it's a way to make the interaction more personal. At companies like Apple or Amazon, training employees to remember and use customer names is considered a key to long-term loyalty. Try this yourself. In a conversation, listen attentively, nod occasionally, and repeat the other person's name when you respond. Watch how their eyes light up. Something so small can transform a casual interaction into a genuine friendship, or turn a one-time buyer into a loyal customer. Carnegie showed us that listening more, talking less, and never forgetting someone's name, though simple, are the very foundations of lasting influence in any relationship. Part 4. Persuasion without arguing. Dale Carnegie famously said, "You can't win an argument. If you lose it, you lose it. And if you win it, you still lose it." It sounds paradoxical, but it reflects a deep truth about human nature. When people feel forced or cornered, they rarely change their minds. Instead, they feel offended, resentful, and the relationship begins to suffer. Carnegie suggests a different approach. Don't focus on proving that you're right. Instead, guide others to discover the truth for themselves. Rather than arguing head-on, listen first, ask thoughtful questions, and acknowledge the valid points in their perspective before sharing your own. This way, they won't feel attacked, and they'll far be more open to considering your point of view. You can see this clearly in the American workplace. A wise manager won't shout at an employee, "Your way is completely wrong." Instead, they might say, "That's an interesting idea. What if we tried it this way? Do you think it might work better?" The end result may be the same, but the approach fosters cooperation rather than conflict. Or think about everyday life, say a family dinner. If the topic of politics comes up, a notoriously divisive subject in the US, you're almost guaranteed not to change someone's opinion through direct argument. But if you choose to listen, then share your perspective through personal experience, you're more likely to preserve harmony and perhaps even plant a seed of lasting change. Carnegie reminds us that the true goal of communication isn't to win or lose, it's to strengthen and sustain relationships. And the only way to do that is by mastering the art of persuasion without ever needing to argue. Part 5. Leading without creating resentment. One of the most subtle arts in how to win friends and influence people is the way Dale Carnegie teaches us to lead others. He stresses that true leadership isn't built on fear or authority, it's built on respect and encouragement. Human beings naturally dislike being publicly criticized. When confronted harshly, most people don't improve, instead they push back or quietly harbor resentment. That's why Carnegie advises, if you must give feedback, always begin with praise. Show people that their efforts are valued, that their contributions matter, then gently suggest where improvements could be made. He also highlights another key skill: assign tasks as opportunities to shine, not as orders to obey. When an employee or teammate feels trusted, they will give far more of themselves than if they feel forced. Many modern American companies practice this philosophy. For example, Google became famous for its 20% time policy, which allowed employees to spend part of their work week on passion projects. From that freedom came groundbreaking products like Gmail and Google Maps. Instead of saying, "Do what I tell you," Google encouraged employees with, "Work on what you believe matters, and we'll support you." It's a powerful example of leadership through inspiration. History offers lessons as well. Abraham Lincoln, one of America's greatest presidents, wasn't known for issuing iron-fisted commands. He was admired for his ability to listen, empathize, and unite a divided nation during the Civil War. Lincoln led with humility and compassion, earning the respect of even his fiercest political rivals. The core truth is this: leadership isn't about standing above others, it's about helping them rise to their full potential. When people feel important, they'll follow you, not because they have to, but because they want to. Part 6. Genuine care, the key to lasting influence. Dale Carnegie reminds us that every communication technique and every persuasion strategy becomes meaningless without one essential ingredient: genuine care for people. You can praise, you can listen, you can offer clever advice, but if it's all just for your own gain, others will quickly sense the insincerity. On the other hand, when you truly care, not just in words but in actions and attitude, relationships become strong and enduring. Human beings long to be understood and valued. When someone feels that you remember their birthday, ask about their family, or simply listen with full attention in your eyes, they open up and trust begins to grow. This truth can be seen everywhere in American life. Many of the most successful CEOs aren't just skilled strategists, they're also deeply people-oriented. Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks, once said he didn't run the company just to sell coffee, but to create a place where people feel connected and cared for. That philosophy turned Starbucks into a global brand, known not just for coffee, but for a sense of belonging. Or consider everyday life. A neighbor who sees you mowing your lawn might walk over with a cold beer and spend a few minutes chatting. It's a small gesture of care, but it can build long-term bonds within a community. The core message Carnegie wanted us to understand is this: lasting influence doesn't come from eloquence or authority. It comes from a heart that genuinely cares. Part 7. Lasting success, built on character, not tricks. Dale Carnegie closes his book with a powerful message. You cannot build lasting success on communication tricks or clever persuasion tactics. Those may bring short-term gains, but they quickly fade. What truly matters is your character, your kindness, sincerity, and respect for others. When character is your foundation, communication skills simply become tools to express the goodness that's already within you. Always remember, people may forget the exact words you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That's why great leaders, successful entrepreneurs, and even the best friends in everyday life all share one thing in common. They care, they respect, and they build trust, not through manipulation, but through genuine character. And that's where lasting success, both in work and in relationships, will always come from. If you found the lessons from how to win friends and influence people helpful, don't forget to like this video and follow the channel so you won't miss more of the best book summaries to help you grow in both life and career.